Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I recently made a video playing from 250 beginner rating to 400 elo. I was playing against chess engines and I was explaining every single move to do. Okay, it was very informative. I hope that you watch that if you are rated under 1000 elo, from 100 to 1000 elo online. And this video, it's a continuation of that video. It's part 2. Now I'm going to be starting playing against 550 elo, and then we're gonna go for 700, 1850. Okay, but we're gonna stay with 550 right now. We're gonna choose the engine and we're gonna hit challenge. Okay, so I have the black pieces. I literally going to explain every single move and what you are supposed to do and how to do less blunders. If you are rated under 1000, this will be the best video you ever watch. So keep watching and learn from this series. Okay, so c6. Now you can go e5 if you like. You can go d5, the Scandinavian, but I like to go for the Karl Khan c6. Okay, when they move the knight, or when they go d4, you go d5. Okay, this is the Karl Khan. So I go d5. Sometimes they take, sometimes they don't, but okay. Now when he develops the other knight, okay, the plan of the Karl Khan is just to take the pawn if he did not take you. Then when he takes with the knight, you attack it with the bishop, or you go knight f6. Knight f6 is called Tartakower, I guess. And then knight takes it, then pawn takes, then you put the bishop here, then you castle. Okay? But what I personally like, when knight takes on e4, I go bishop f5. And after bishop f5, he goes back to knight g3, attacking my bishop, and I just retreat to g6. That is the plan in the Karl Khan. Now, you don't have to do any of... sometimes they push h4, but then after h4, you can just go h6, and when he attacks you one more time, you go bishop back. Okay, this is the plan in this kind of position. But if he did not attack you, you're not... just don't waste your time going for this. But if he goes h4, you just go h6. Okay, now we're going to develop the knight f6. We're going to go e6 to open up for the bishop. Okay. As you see, he went a3, then a4. I mean, if you want to go a4, you can just play a4. I mean, this is very... Okay, the idea about this move is my opponent doesn't know what he's doing because he doesn't know what he is supposed to do. What you are supposed to do in the opening phase, activate your pieces. How to activate them? Move them out of their starting square. For example, this bishop is on its starting square. Put it on, go bishop c4. Bishop c4, you're activating the bishop. This is number one. Number two, you are preparing to castle. This is what you are supposed to do. You are supposed to go maybe d3 or d4 and just activate the other bishop. This is what you're supposed to do. Activate your pieces, get your king to safety, and slowly control more squares in the position, and that's it. Okay, so this is a very terrible move. You should not be doing that whatsoever. You should not be moving any pawn. Maybe you should be moving b3 to go bishop there to add some threat with the bishop, maybe. Okay, so now we go e6, and the idea behind e6, I want to activate my bishop. So see, this is a good move. My opponent activated the bishop. But you have to ask yourself, bishop e2 or bishop c4, which one is better? I mean, bishop c4, it's a little bit better because at least when you want to develop this bishop, you're not locking in this bishop here. The bishop is out. Okay, so I would like bishop c4 better, but at least it is activated in some way. Now you can go bishop d6 or bishop c5. Okay, there's no point of going bishop b4 because you will be attacked with c3 and you are forced to go back. Okay, so don't go for that move. Either bishop d6 or bishop c5 or bishop e7. But bishop e7 is exactly like bishop e2. It's passive, a little bit passive. But this bishop c4, c5, it can, it attacks this pawn with this knight, so it's a little bit better. Okay, it's more active. So we go bishop c5. Now what are we preparing as black? We are preparing to castle kingside, okay? Then slowly build an attack on this weakness with the queen and stuff, and start adding pressure on the weaknesses. But this move, knight d4, I mean, I cannot begin to understand. I mean, there's nothing here. You can take it with the bishop, you can take it with the queen. There's nothing, there's no tricks. It's just a big, huge blunder that you're gonna see a lot of your opponent do. But, sorry, if you did exactly what I did, you activated your pieces, you pushed your pawn, you activated the bishop, you activated the knights, you're gonna get your king to safety. If you just did that, you will be better than 99% of players in chess. I'm not lying to you, okay? Just do what I just did. Develop your pieces, active pieces, and get your king to safety. Now, I can get my king to safety, but I lose my chance of winning this free piece, okay? But which one to take with? The bishop or with the queen? It's better to take with the bishop if there was a pawn here. If there was a pawn here on, bishop, instead of this bishop on e2. Because if I take, he can just attack me with the pawn, okay? But if I take with the queen, there is no pawn to attack me. So I'm taking with the queen and I'm threatening mate. So which move to do? Do the more threatening move, okay? The more dangerous move. So which is queen takes on d4. Now threatening mate. So now it castles, okay? Now it castles. Now we cannot add pressure here. But we can go knight g4 to add pressure on this pawn. We are threatening to go knight here, take the pawn. If rook takes, we have this, then he goes there, then we just win the rook for the knight, okay? So let's just go, we cannot go here because there's the bishop, okay? I was doing that just for you to see, but you just went on with my idea of adding pressure here and you did not see the bishop. You should always look for ways for your, this is exactly what he just did, okay? He just moved his knight here and thought, oh, okay, I have a plan. But he did not see that I can take twice. Now here, he can actually just take twice. Defended by the queen as well. So now what do? We can develop the knight on d7. It's a more active square. We can castle. But let's do exactly what my opponent just did. Let's castle. Okay, is this... maybe he wanted to move the pawn and didn't want to lose the rook. Maybe. But if our opponent did not do any piece activation or anything, or attack my pieces and push me back, then you just develop your pieces. Knight d7 to go here to add more pressure on the enemy king. Now let's calculate. The knight is here. We can go knight takes, but there's bishop takes, and if we go bishop takes, there's queen takes. Okay, so it's not really a free piece. But we can just develop the knight, and maybe he wants to take here, so maybe we can just take once, then bishop takes. Then if he bishop takes, then we can take with this pawn, open up with the rook. This is how they are supposed to think in the game. So I don't want to go here because maybe there's takes, knight takes, and when I take like this, it's a little bit worse for the rook to participate in the game. So what should we do here? I can go knight e4, adding pressure here, and he cannot stop it, which is much better. To go knight e4, adding pressure here, the pawn cannot be pushed because it's bent. So after knight e4, you should think what your opponent can do. Well, my opponent can go c3, attacking my queen, and I have to go back. And I can go back here. So let's go for it. Let's go for it, like move by move. Here we're adding pressure. We have 1, 2, 3. So 3 pieces, attacking 1 pawn, defended by only 1 piece. The king does not count because... Okay, so now we can go knight takes on f2. Knight takes on f2, he can go rook takes. But if he takes with the rook, we can just go queen takes, and we just won a rook for the knight. So it's and we won the pawn as well. So we go here, and now we're threatening the queen. Okay, so he lost his queen. Now we can just take it with check as well. But you have to look for something better than that. Is there a way to win better than winning the queen? Yes, it's winning the game. So we can go knight h3. It's double check. Check with the knight and check with the queen. So the king has to move. King moves here. Now we can sacrifice the queen. The rook has to take because the king cannot, because it's protected by the knight and by the bishop. And when the rook takes, we just have knight f2 checkmate. So if you are at beginner level It's okay if you did not see this double check, then mating threat. Okay, so you can just take the queen, and then he moves his, he moves his king. You take the other rook, and that's it. But you should always calculate how to do even more threatening move. I told you there is a threatening move, and there is a more threatening move. Okay, more dangerous move. We can go knight h3. It's a double check. Okay, so now the king has to go on h1. We sacrifice the queen. The rook has to take. Then the king is, is in a corner, cannot move. And then we have knight e2. When knight f2 wins the game. Okay, so let's go for it. The king has to move. We sacrifice the queen. Rook takes. Then we have this mate. Okay, so let's just do that. And that's mate. Alright, so now we finished from 550. We're going to go for the second bot, which is 700 elo. 700 elo with white. At least you have some fundamentals in chess, and you know that you are supposed to push the pawns in the center, okay? Because you heard that a lot. So let's just push e4. Okay, e4 replies with c5. This is the Sicilian defense. We can go knight f3, develop the knight, develop the bishop. Yeah, we can develop the bishop here. Okay, is this a good move? Okay, you should not go like, ooh, he's attacking my bishop, I have to go back, because there is c4, and you will be kept attacking at. So, but if we take bishop d5, bishop takes d5, it's completely free pawn. If he attacks us, we can just go back, because we are defended by the pawn, and the queen cannot take us. So it's just a blunder right from the opening. So we take it. Okay, what is this move? Now, it could have been a blunder if knight e5 was possible, because knight e5 attacks the queen, will also add pressure on this. But we cannot go here because there's knight takes. Okay? So now we can just castle the king. We can just move d3 and activate the bishop. It's a good move to activate your pieces. We can go bishop takes and queen takes, then knight here, but we lose the knight. But we can go queen e2. Okay, so let's go for like opening principles. Okay, now we can go knight g5. Knight g5, we're adding pressure here, but he can simply push. You should not be doing that knowing that, oh, my opponent is a beginner, then I can do that. No, you're also a beginner, so you should not be doing that. And if you want to elevate in the game of chess, you want to level up in chess, you should not be playing and you're underestimating your opponent. Okay, if he's a beginner, you're also a beginner, because that's how chess matches are matched. If you're a beginner, you play against the beginner. If you're intermediate, you play against intermediate. Okay, so is this a good professional move? It is not, because you will be attacked with e6 and the bishop has to go back. Okay, and it also can be defended with knight h6. So don't go for cheap opening tricks and stuff. Okay, we have bishop takes f7, king takes, but we don't have this knight 4 can win in the queen because there's knight takes. But we have the other check. Okay, and then when the king moves somewhere else, we have another check with the queen, but he can just block us. So just castle your king. Castle your king, get your pieces to safety. Is this a good move? Well, you see that he's gonna go h4, h3 and add some pressure, but it's not really a pressure. It's not really a pressure, because you can just push g3, and you might think that, oh, there's a pawn here. There's no possibility of like some kind of a mate. No, there's not a possibility of a mate, because you have a lot of pieces defending your position. Okay. Now we can just go d3, and with d3 we are activating the bishop vision. Okay, how am I supposed to teach you that? The queen's value is 9 points of material. The bishop is 3, so you should not be trading 9 for 3, because you lose 6 points of material. And he just lost the queen. It lost the queen, or he, it's the same thing. But wow, surprisingly saw that the knight can be taken. Okay, Now what you are supposed to do, just trade everything. You are up material, trade everything. Take the knight. Pawn takes you. Okay. And now you can just develop your pieces. Develop the bishop on more active square. King move is not a good move. Maybe to try to like survive as long as possible. Get your knight out. Think out of the bishop and castle this way. Maybe to try be a little bit safe. So this is what you are supposed to do, but it's okay. Now let's push c3. c3 because we want to take, or he takes us. Then we take with the knight. So we develop our knight, and we also, open this check. I could give checks to try to make a mating net for your opponent. Okay. Now, are we winning with knight b5? Knight b5, we are threatening to go bishop check, but the king can move to either of these squares. Then we can now move the knight winning the game, because maybe if he went here, he can just take our bishop, because the knight just moved. We need to use to defend. So now what is the best move? We can go queen c4, threatening mate. Okay, it's not mate because he goes here, then you can build mate with the knight. But let's just go for simple threats. Queen here, threatening some checks. Okay. First of all, it blunders a pawn, but also like some blunders the game as well. You have this bishop c7 check. The king moves somewhere else. Then if the king moved here, it's mate. But if the king moved there, you give a check, and he blocks you, then you win the rook. Okay, so you can go for this check, but the king is really safe, and you don't have. Yeah, you have some mating threat. I mean, you're up 7 points of material, so you're gonna make a mating net. But it's better to go bishop check. The king has to go one of these two squares. Okay, this is a blunder because it loses the game right on the spot. But now queen c6 forces bishop d7 because he cannot move the king. And then you give him this check, and then he has to block with the bishop again and loses the game with bishop. Queen takes c8. I hope it was really straightforward and simple for you to understand. Now we're going to go for the next part. 850, still beginner phase. Okay, so now e4, you can go with e5, you can go with d5 Scandinavian, you can go with c6 the Karo Khan, but I suggest that you go for one opening for black and just keep doing the same opening, so you can get the same kind of position every single time. And if you get the same position every single time, you will make better moves because you know what you're supposed to do. When you keep playing different openings, you don't get the same position. So here you will, it will take you a long time to become better at chess. Okay, so always go for the same opening with black, the same opening for white, and that's it. Okay, now let's go here. Accelerated Banov. You're not supposed to know the opening and stuff. All you have to do is just don't blunder anything. Okay, so now queen takes, but there's knight c3. Knight c3 attacks the queen, and there's queen a4 check. You can block with knight c6. You are developing the knight to the center. Okay, you can go bishop here, but your queen will be like attacked and stuff. So the knight here, it's just much better. You're blocking the check, and you're controlling some squares in the center. Okay, this is the best thing that you can do. Alright, so what to do now? You can activate the bishop, or you can activate the knight. You can go e6 to take the knight and to just ruin the pawn structure, or just make him take. You can do whatever you want, but let's just develop the knight. You should not be moving the queen. If the queen is not attacked, you should not be moving it. Okay, so the threat with knight b5, what is the threat? The threat is to go knight c7 check, and it is a royal fork. I lose the rook and the queen. So I can go back to where I came from, queen d8 or queen c7, queen d7, queen d8 or queen d7. Queen d7, I mean, I'm blocking the bishop, and the bishop cannot be. Okay, so it's better to go here. Now he doesn't have this check anymore. Yeah, this I don't understand. Maybe he thought that I cannot take with the knight because I am pinned, but I can take with the rook. And if queen takes, I mean, it's just a free knight, so we just take it with the rook, adding pressure on the queen. Okay, and goes back to the same square. Now, is the way that white is playing good? No, it's not, because he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and none of the 6 pieces are activated. None of them are activated, so it's really, really bad. I mean, I have 2 knights controlling some squares in the center. I'm going to activate the bishop. I'm going to go here, activate the other bishop. This is what you're supposed to do, okay? You don't go e6 and block in the bishop, okay? So let's go bishop here, bishop f5. Okay, this is a good move, developing the bishop. It is a good move, and also adding pressure on this pawn. It's good. Now we go e6. We want to activate the bishop, the other bishop, and we want to castle. Okay, is this a threat? No, the pawn is protected. The bishop cannot take because there's bishop takes, and it's not really a threat. We can go here. There's going to be some checks. No, it's not this. He can give this check, but he can take and stuff. But let's go for simple chess. Simple chess. You can go bishop d6 or bishop c5. One of these 2 moves. But which one is better? Bishop d6, you're blocking the queen, and you're attacking this pawn. But bishop c5, you're not blocking the queen, and you're attacking this weak pawn that's only protected by the king. So you can add pressure with the knight as well on it. So this is how to make moves in the opening. Okay, now bishop c5. Now we're going to castle this way. Okay, is this a good move? It's not a really good move because, you know, you have like some knight attack, but he can just castle. Can you stop him from castling? No, you don't have bishop here. Bishop d3, check, because there's bishop takes. And you cannot go queen takes because there's queen takes and you're losing a piece. So just get your king to safety, castle. This is the most important thing. Now he can castle, it's okay. Okay, is this a good move or not? You should... Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3 pieces defending the d4 square. And the only piece defending this d4 pawn is the knight. So you can just take it with the knight, attacking the queen. And if knight takes, you can take with the queen, threatening this. Okay, so we can take with the queen, take with the queen, threatening mate. Now he can just castle. Is it a good move to take with the queen? Well, he can just castle right after it, and he can go there with the rook, attack my queen. So I don't really like it. I'm gonna take with the bishop. Okay. Now he can castle. It's completely fine. But when he goes here. Now we can go knight g4, adding pressure on this pawn. We can sacrifice the bishop just for getting in with some checks and stuff. But just build slowly the attack. Okay, slowly build it. We can go here. So let's go knight g4. Knight g4, we're threatening this. So now he castle. It's a good move. We can go queen c7. Queen c7, we are threatening mate. This is number 1. And we can go the other way around. We can go queen h4, threatening mate. If queen h4, he doesn't have this blocking this takes because he loses the game. So when we go queen h4, he is forced to go here. Then we take with check, and if he takes, we can just take, and we're going to win the rook. Okay, so let's go here. Queen h4. Always activate your pieces in a way that you're going to attack your opponent some way. Okay. Now if I take with the bishop, there's just king moves, and he is completely safe. But if I take with the knight, I'm threatening to go back with the knight, check, and win the queen. So taking with the knight is better because the knight is hanging. It could be taken. So we take with the knight. Okay, queen takes here. It just take it. Okay, so the computer sees that it's going to be made soon, so it tries to simplify all the pieces to go for the farthest checkmate possible. Okay, so we just take here, check. Okay, so now we can give this check, but then the king runs away. Now we have this check, goes here, then we have this mate. But then bishop blocks, then we can just take it. So we go bishop here. Okay, and as you can see, it goes for the farthest way possible to lose the game. Okay, now what do? If we take with the bishop, it just goes to safety, and now he's completely safe. But if I take with the queen, Okay, he cannot block because of takes, and whenever he moves, we have checks and stuff. So take with the queen is better. We're also threatening to win the bishop, but don't go for the bishop. I know that I said that we have to go for pieces and stuff, but if we went queen h2 check, the king moves somewhere else, we give another check, and just as a way just to win the game, just simplify everything. So we're gonna just take the bishop. Okay, there's plenty of ways to win the game. Just trade everything and win the pieces. Give another check. Just keep giving checks, but make sure not to end in a stalemate and stuff. Okay. Now we can go bishop e4. Bishop e4, the idea, we want to go here or here to build this mating net. Okay? Now the rook is going to go back to defend. Okay. Now what you can do is attack the rook, the defender of this pawn. Sorry, bishop d4. We're threatening to win the rook. Okay, so now we take the rook, and now this is unstoppable mate. So I have taken you from 550 to 850 beginner level. Now we finished the beginner level, and I explained every single move that you are supposed to do to win the game. Hopefully this was very informative for you. I mean, this is what you are supposed to do. Just develop your pieces in a more active way. Okay, get your king to safety. If your opponent blunders a piece, take that piece and trade everything and build a mating net. This is how I build mating net, like right now. I mean, I just build a mating net with the queen to add pressure on this pawn and to win. Then the rook went back, defends the pawn. So now I went for the rook that is defending the pawn. I did not like push this pawn and make another queen. I did not take this free pawn. I built a mating net. This is what you're supposed to do at this beginner level. Build a mating net. Take all your opponent pieces and always go for the fastest way to win the game. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna see you in the next video.